Vail is Mr. Julie Bannon T. So I'm the MC this evening. Julie, looking after you. I don't need a round of applause. Thank you. Northern Riain and Southern Riain. Is there anyone here at O'Vale for the first time? I think we've all been here before. Oh, welcome. I didn't know it was your first time. So I'm going to give you just an idea of how the night goes, like the layout of the night. You've come to a bilingual night. Our two guest poets write in the Irish language. So you're going to be treated to a flavour of the Irish language and Gaeilge. So we usually start off with a 5-word challenge. That is where we invite you all to write a poem, which includes 5 words that you're randomly going to shout out in a minute. You'll be given 15 minutes to write a poem. You don't have to, obviously, you can just chill and enjoy the silence. So you'll have 15 minutes to write a poem or a song or whatever you want, a rap, and then come up, share that poem if you wish. Yourselves determine the winner, and the people online will throw in a vote to say their favourite piece. I think your man is going to compete with us outside there as well, as always. And the winner will be picked. They're going to get 3 books, isn't it, Paul? 3 books. 3 books and a free drink at the bar. So how bad? Just for a couple of Fhoghlú, for a couple of words. So after that, then we'll have the guest poets. We'll read, and after that, then we'll have the open mics. There'll be a few announcements in between. And do we have a quick break? Sorry, no, I'm not sure. There's a quick break after the guest poets. Yeah, okay. So without further ado, Mahashiv Rig, Mahashiv Sausta, if you're happy, if you want to shout out a few words there to me, and we will get started. 5 random words. Foreign. That's our first word, foreign. Tongue. Okay, brilliant. I just need to get another pen. Tongue.
Give me that one. Foreign tongue, is it?
Foreign. Foreign. Oh, thanks a million. I'll get you another one, Paul.
I have one.
So we have foreign and tongue.
Botox.
Okay, say that again.
Botox.
Botox. I wouldn't know anything about that now. Botox. Foreign, tongue, Botox. Did someone say a word? Foreign. Like not from this place. Foreign, or in a in a foreign land, different land. Yeah.
Check the Zoom words.
Zoom words.
Zoom words. Yeah.
1 sec there. Thanks.
Okay, Zoom words. We've got drums, like 15 times. Thanks, Pam.
Drums.
We have flight.
Drums as in percussion.
Yeah.
Drums and flight.
Or drums as in verb. I was shouting, y'all. Sorry. It's hard when you're on Zoom. That was my 15 drums.
Okay, thanks, Pam. So our 5 words for tonight are foreign, tongue, Botox, drums, and flight. Can I relive? You got 15 minutes to do your best or your worst.
Could y'all drop those words in the chat, please? Excuse me, can y'all hear me?
We heard you.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you, Pam. We're working on it.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I won't start shouting.
Hi, Pam. Um, Pam,
Are we done? Fair play. It's kind of walking around there and I feel like I was walking around in someone's dream or something. Kind of a weird feeling. It's lovely, everyone writing away. It's kind of surreal. I forgot to mention a few things. If you're coming up to read your poem, just say your name to me, please. And I'll put it down on the list. Also, just be mindful. See the stool here, that's there on purpose because there's all this expensive equipment, and don't do what I just did and bang off it. Because when people walk up, they accidentally might kick the bottom of the microphone and then it just bangs into everything, and that is, it makes the audio a bit messy. So just be mindful, please, if you're coming up off the stool. So without further ado, we'll open the mic. So whoever would like to come up and read their poem, and as I said, we will determine a winner, the most popular poem. That person will get a free drink and 3 books. So it's well worth sharing your few words. It's a very safe space. There's no judgment. So I'll leave it up to you. And obviously our Zoom friends as well. We're going to hear from them, no doubt.
Called Botox. The doctor tells me the cost of Botox, then tells me the cost of foregoing the foreign substance. A ripple of laughter costs a line under the topsoil of my cheek. I always knew I'd be destroyed by the best times of my life. A surprised expression costs 5 lines. Right above the brows, gossip, good news, opening gifts at Christmas, loved ones hiding in the dark, then shouting surprise, a cost I cannot abide. A sadness, a heartbreak, I cannot pay all the lines that would cost. So rather than love and love lost, I'll get Botox. Venomous agent, tighten my face like a drum. Only things moving, my eyes, my tongue. Statue, marble, unmoved, my emotion like the flight of fish beneath a frozen lake.
Gurmíle mágat you, Mahu. Brilliant start. So up you come. Good stuff.
Hi. So this poem is called The Foreign Place. Fly me to the moon. Let me stay on the tongue, filled with the Botox, and let me play the drums like you've never seen or heard before. A foreign sound, a foreign place. Too far, too close. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. I think Jamie's coming up.
I feel clumsy when I speak in my own people's tongue. It's far from me, it's foreign to what should be known. There's no drum beat. I'm missing half the rhythm, like a part of me is hidden, and I know I haven't risen to the challenge of taking it on, properly having a go. Not for lack of trying by that owl on Duolingo. I got a new phone, he's taken flight, and I've yet to re-download. So I'm still speaking Irish like I received a really recent Botox treatment.
Leonard, Jamie, Mahu. Is the Duolingo any good?
That's all right. If
Yeah.
you have some already, it's
Yeah, I'll have to have a look at it sometime. Fair play. Áine, ella. Amy, do you want to come for each of them? Come on. Woohoo!
Botox comes in vials and drums and sits between the cheeks and tongue. Yet in the night she takes her flight, a foreign body beneath her skin tonight.
Wonderful. Gurmíle mágat, Amy. So I'll just step away from the mic and let the next person come up. There's a bit of coaxing going on back there. Come on, I always say you regret it when you go home if you don't do it. Good man.
Hi everyone. I don't have a name for my poem, so I'm just gonna go ahead. I took a flight from the West End to the Western. I'm talking Togo, Ghana, Germany, England to Ireland. No hesitation, I might just make a difference because I'm foreign. You could tell I look different. Big smile, no Botox. You can learn from me. Je suis Togolais, je m'appelle Raphael. Or I could switch tongues like Konisatatu. Raphael is Anam Dum. I'm rapping with no drums. Difference and exchange is beautiful.
Gurmíle mágat, Raphael. Merci beaucoup.
Right. My night of feeling foreign. With swollen tongue, I speak through clotted teeth. The Botox in my eardrums takes out all vibrations to hear. My feet stomp rhythms into wet grass, drums beating the dance, melodies of flute and sax take flight, coiling through my spine. I feel the music flow, body sounds along. Yet my mind cannot decipher the tongue-twisting meanings behind words with no key. can only see the images portrayed in their sound, cannot bridge the gap to missing roots. I remain foreign.
Thank you, Fhoghlú. Woohoo. And yeah, you might tell me your name. That was a good point, Sue, just so if the people here want to know your name, if they're voting you a winner. What's your name? Fhoghlú, lovely.
Mine doesn't have a name either. Tongue twisting, breaking, hating the sound of my foreign drums, mouth taking steps to remember my mother's tongue. Home seems further away with every mistake my mouth makes, eroding as memory fades. Botox and rage, we try to create space in a place that suffocates. Awaken from flights as my mind associates. It's hard to stay awake these days.
So we have Brendan online. You there, Brendan?
I am indeed. Yes.
He is indeed. Ready to go.
Hi from Wimbledon. I've called this Christmas overseas. Tongue and ham followed us to foreign shores each Christmas in packages padded out with Kimberleys and Carol's fags. With swans swimming and drummers drumming and Morecambe and Wise always in full flight, we harvested as Irish a Christmas as we could. But they were there and we were here, always a point when you felt Botox numb. Thank you.
Brendan, thanks a million. Is there anyone else in this room I would like to come up? I'm sure there's a few others. Yeah, come on, sure, give it a go. Good man. Jason.
I don't want to speak in cliches, but these days, when you talk, you sound foreign. Did you Botox your tongue? And your face looks like you fell through a box full of drums. Go check in the mirror. There's a set of switches on the right. First one marked A, second one marked B, and if you go far enough, you might see the F light.
With Jason, and you did that in record time because you were 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes in when you started, so fair play. Have a few more. Go on. Hey. Am I right in saying? Catherine. I'm glad I didn't say Mary, so sorry. Sorry, Catherine. I call this our Eden. In the Garden of Eden, your tongue sidled close, like the hiss of foreign ancients, tempting with fruit, not an apple as accepted, but a fig forbidden, fertilized by a dead wasp, antennae cut off on entry. Drums rolled down the hill of Tara, bonfires sang the night. I was so glad I missed my flight to Botox paradise, as it was so much better to grow into and with you to the ages, eyes and figs of our own paradise. Fermina Margaret, Catherine. Anyone else from Zoom? Anyone else from here? Okay, Pam, you ready? I'd say you're always ready, Pam.
Always ready. Botox threw me, but I think I got it. Okay, bear with me. I got to look through my pages here. Okay. Troubles. Let's see. Let me see. 1, 2. Make sure I got 5 words. I think I do. Okay. Troublesome creek. Botox plumped from creek to surging river. Rope metallic. Knifed white sounds on steroids. Foreign to my tongue. merciless penetration of ears weary of mongering noise. In this surge of water, an entire world exists. Baby box turtles, babies torn from mother's arms, elders torn from their histories, a million microscopic organisms in drummed, flowing flight, and I clambering up tumbling mountain scream.
Thank you, Pam. Are you sure now, lads? Hey! Wait. Roisin, yeah, perfect, yeah, just so they hear your name.
Yeah. And I had never really seen you before this flight to Charles de Gaulle, your tongue sidestepping foreign words, as if it were the breath of a clarinetist. First live concert performance. The lines in the Botox sky, the window of seat 15A reminded me of so many times you said nothing, as if the ripple of a cloud could drum out the misshapen words of fog.
Real Margaret Roisin. So will we look at who the winner is, or does anyone else want to run up? Okay, do we have any Zoom votes, Paul? Do you want to vote, Zoom people? Okay. We got one vote. Just the one? Okay. Right, well, what a beautiful collection of poems. Thanks to everyone who shared. We go by the oohs, the ahs, the silences, the applause, the laughs. God, that's like a poem itself, actually. Very good. I want to welcome up the winner this evening, who blew me away personally, and that was Fhoghlú. Up you come. Will you read it again? Huh? Read it again. Sorry.
I have to read it again.
Oh yeah, you have to. Sorry, I thought I said that.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Tongue twisting, breaking, hating the sound of my foreign drums. Mouth taking step to remember my mother's tongue. Home seems further away, every mistake my mouth makes, eroding as memory fades. Botox in rage, we try to create space in a place that suffocates, awaken from flights as my mind dissociates. It's hard to stay awake these days.
Well done, Fhoghlú, and it's your first time at O'Vale. Woo, well done, you'll be back. Okay, good woman. So we have one of our guest poets here. Is our other guest poet going to be joining us online? Okay, Arouser Fod. What I'm going to do so is I'm going to briefly introduce our guest poets. I'm not sure. Yeah. After the announcements, thank you, Paul. So yeah, we do have some announcements as usual. Cúpla fógra. Very important. Shit, I'm after banging into that there now. O'Vale aims to maintain a safe space for writers and attendees and subscribes to the Arts Council's Equality, Diversity and Inclusion policy. We ask participants to maintain respectful when communicating and to report any offensive behaviour to O'Vale. Next on the agenda is the 10th 5 Words International Poetry Competition continues. The words for the 13th to the 20th of September are interior, chain, honest, Prophecy, and Float. And they'll be up on the website as well. This just to let you know, this event is recorded and will be available to revisit as an MP3 podcast and on video via vimeo.com/Ovail. I'm just aware that I drank a lot of fizzy water there, so I could burp. I'm just apologising in advance. I'm trying to swallow it. Our featured guests on Friday, 23rd of September for Culture Night. This is always a whopper of a night here. You have to get in early because it is jammers. So our guest poets for Culture Night are Stan Knott, one of our regulars, and I'm so excited, Dmytro Lazutkin. He is a slam poet, an award-winning slam poet from Ukraine, and he will be coming to us live via Zoom from Ukraine, which I think is incredibly special. So that's going to be some night to behold. Hello, Colum. All are welcome to attend in person or online. I kind of forget that's actually an option, which is amazing. If you'd like to participate via Zoom, because we'll have the open mic, please email info@ovail.ie. If you need to catch any of those details, just ask me and I'll give them to you in a while. Monday, the 10th of October, is going to be a brilliant night here as Ovail hosts the 2022 Munster Poetry Slam. There's going to be 2 rounds. To be considered for entry, contact Ovail via email. Again, it's info@ovail.ie, our social media. We've had several Munster Poetry Slams here, guaranteed a fantastic night. Such an array of talent. I'd highly recommend coming along as a spectator, or if you're willing to give it a go yourself, just contact us to be put on the list. That's going to be some night as well. So that's the next Ovail on the 10th of October. Thank you to everyone who's kindly offered donations. The donation jars under the horse's head there, which are kindly appreciated. PayPal donations can also be made via the link above the live poetry stage on the website or via our contact page. Donna Hillamilla. Do we have an order? Who's going first?
I think Isobel is going first.
Okay. What's your own, Isobel? Are we frozen on Zoom there? So I'm just going to read, I'll start with Áine's biog, Áine Fhoghlú.
Yeah, Isobel actually has to go early.
Okay, so will I just introduce Isobel and she reads? Okay. Hello, Isobel. What you wrote?
Is mar Constanto.
Bra. So, Tom, she just can Fhoghlú Garrett Aleva Mach Maramishalat. So Dr. Isobel Riain was born and reared in Cork. She graduated from UCC with degrees in Irish and sociology and higher level education. Her PhD thesis focused on the poetic formation of Martino di Roin. She now works in Unad na Gaeilge Labhartha in UCC. She has published over 20 books in Irish, jeepers, that's some amount, including translations of poetry from German into English. 2 of her most recent publications include translations of Paul Celan, Dante de Celanado, and Friedrich Hölderlin. I've no doubt I massacred that name. Say it again.
Hölderlin.
Oh, that one, yeah. So Isobel, fáilte wrote, agus go mai riacht.
So, hello everybody. Now, a lot of this is going to be in Irish, but I will put in some English as I go along as well. So, be me kaint ma jouler Paul Celan. Rugach Paul Celan sa bhliain 1920. He was born in 1920. Agus fuair sé bás sa bhliain 1970. He died in 1970 by his own hand. Paul Anchel an tanna bhí ar dús ach athríocha ghlinne go Ansel in Yigsin, agus his anagram an tanna Celan atá bunathe ar Ansel. So his surname changed 3 times, well, maybe twice. It was started off as Anchel, and then it changed to Ansel, which was the Romanian spelling, and then finally an anagram from that was Celan. Rugaché I Chernovice, a bhí sa Romáin an Uirsin agus tá san Ukraine inis. So he was born in Chernovice, which was in Romania and is now in Ukraine. Bhí dúil ag go bháthair sa litríocht Gearmáise agus thugt Celan a gráisiúil san teanga sin leis uirthi. So his mother was really into German poetry and he got his love of German poetry from her. The Anachid Tangacha Oris ig Zeeland. He had lots and lots of languages. Dibrig sé mar Astrahor agus mar lector I Boris. So he worked as a translator and as a lector in Paris. Behudig Paul Celan agus a winter agus for the Hushmahori boss I Gampa Naziach. So Paul Celan and his parents were Jews and his parents died in a Nazi concentration camp. He also spent time in a camp but managed to get released. Is féidir an brón a bhítar slodánta aige a hagart siar da hahi féin le barbarach na Nazihe. So you feel this sorrow throughout his poetry, you feel intense sorrow. And we can trace this back clearly to his time and his experiences of Nazism. Is an dawn aige is mó a hálítar leis an tréimhse seo ná tódasfuge a daistrig mé sa chiad chunúsacha gam dachit dánta. So I think the poem that really epitomizes his attitude towards the Holocaust and makes him, I suppose, maybe the Holocaust poet is Todesfuge, which is the fugue of death. I translated this in the first volume that I did on his poems. Déanann Celan Corshís ar an saol de húil I Gampa Naziach sa dánseo. Now I think at this point, maybe if Paul Casey would play us Todesfuge being read by Celan, this would really set the scene. Go to Mila Magat.
Schwarze Milch, wir frühe, wir trinken sie abends, wir trinken sie mittags und morgens, wir trinken sie nachts, wir trinken und trinken. Wir schaufeln ein Grab in den Lüften, da liegt man nicht eng. Ein Mann wohnt im Haus, der spielt mit den Schlangen, der schreibt, wenn es dunkelt nach Deutschland, dein goldenes Haar, Margarete. Er schreibt es und tritt vor das Haus und es blitzen die Sterne, er pfeift seine Rüden herbei, er pfeift seine Juden hervor, lässt schaufeln ein Grab in der Erde. Er befiehlt uns, spielt auf nun zum Tanz. Schwarze Milch der Frühe, wir trinken dich nachts, wir trinken dich morgens und mittags, wir trinken dich abends, wir trinken und trinken. Ein Mann wohnt im Haus, der spielt mit den Schlangen, der schreibt, wenn es dunkelt nach Deutschland, dein goldenes Haar, Margarete, dein aschenes Haar, Sulamit. Wir schaufeln ein Grab in den Lüften, da liegt man nicht eng. Er ruft, stecht tiefer ins Erdreich, ihr einen, ihr anderen spielt weiter zum Tanz auf. Er greift nach dem Eisen im Gurt, er schwingt, seine Augen sind blau. Stecht tiefer die Spaten, ihr einen, ihr anderen spielt weiter zum Tanz auf. Schwarze Milch der Frühe, wir trinken dich nachts, wir trinken dich mittags und morgens, wir trinken dich abends, wir trinken und trinken. Ein Mann wohnt im Haus, dein goldenes Haar, Margarete, dein aschenes Haar, Sulamit, der spielt mit den Schlangen. Er ruft, spielt süßer den Tod, der Tod ist ein Meister aus Deutschland. Er ruft, streicht dunkler die Geigen, dann steigt ihr als Rauch in die Luft. Dann habt ihr ein Grab in den Wolken, da liegt man nicht eng. Schwarze Milch der Frühe, wir trinken dich nachts, wir trinken dich mittags, der Tod ist ein Meister aus Deutschland. Wir trinken dich abends und morgens, wir trinken und trinken. Der Tod ist ein Meister aus Deutschland, sein Auge ist blau. Er trifft dich mit bleierner Kugel, er trifft dich genau. Ein Mann wohnt im Haus, dein goldenes Haar, Margarete. Er hetzt seine Rüden auf uns, er schenkt uns ein Grab in der Luft. Er spielt mit den Schlangen und träumet. Der Tod ist ein Meister aus Deutschland. Dein goldenes Haar, Margarete. Dein aschenes Haar, Sulamit.
Yeah, Gurmila Magat Paul. As you can see, it's a very, very powerful poem. So I'll try to do justice to this now in the Irish translation. It won't be easy. Fúg an bháis, bainne dubhna maidine óla mí dé san líthe, óla mí dé tranointi agus maidinecha óla mí dé déanach san líthe, ólamid agus ólamid, déanamid uig san éir nach níam cúngar chuine, tá fear in na choní sa teach in bíon se leis na nacharacha, scríofann sé nuair a éiríonn sé dorcha go dtíanach ar amán do chrúig orga a Margarita. Scríofann sé agus siúlann sé os cuar an tí agus bíon a réalta ag lonarú ligann sé fad ar a bhadarí, ligann sé fad chuige a chuid giúdach agus chuann sé iad in man uig a chachailt sa chré. Tugann sé or dúdóing casagaí ceol an rinke. Baine dúmhna maidine óla míid tú san ihe, óla míid tú maidinecha agus tránointí, óla míid tú san ihe, ólamid agus ólamid. Tá fearan a choní sa teach in rion sé leis na naharacha a scríofann sé nuair a éiríonn sé daracha go dtíanana chearmán do chrúig orga a Margarita, do chrúig ar gha na luatha a súlamid, déanamid uig san éir nach níon cúng ar chuine. Glenn sé téigi níos daine sa chré sibse an seo agus sibse an siúd canigí casagaí ceol, berann sé graim ar an íran ina chrus agus luascann sé tá thuaile gorm. Cuirigí na slúistí níos daine sibse an seo agus sibse an siúd casagaí ceol breise an rinke. Baine dúmhna maidine ólamid tú san ihe, ólamid tú tránointí agus maidinecha, ólamid tú san ihe, ólamid agus ólamid. Tá fearan a choní sa teach do chrúig orga a Margarita, do chrúig ar gha na luatha a súlamid. Imríonn sé leis na naharacha, gléann sé seinig agus seinig í níos mílse, an bás is máistear an bás ón Gearmán. Gléann sé buailagí níos dorthaí na bhailíní an sin éiríonn sibh mar dheatach san éir, an sin bíon uige goibh san scamil agus nach míon cúng ar chuine. Baine dúmhna maidine ólamid tú san ihe, ólamid tú tránointí is máistear an bás ón Gearmán, ólamid tú san ihe agus maidinecha ólamid agus ólamid is máistear an bás ón Gearmán tá thuail gorm. Buaillann sé túla piléir luí, buaillann sé tú díreach, tá fearan a choní sa teach do chrúig orga Margarita, chuirann sé a bhadarí anan, brunann sé uig orning san éir, imríonn leis na naharacha agus bíon taire Gearmán, do chrúig orga a Margarita, do chrúig ar gha na luatha a súlamid. So, gurm hagad. Mar ríist, mar écann sibh, as you see, it's a very, very potent and powerful poem, and extraordinarily sad as well. So I now want to share my screen. This is always dangerous, but I'll try anyway. Oh yes, here it is. Share. Here it is, my PowerPoint. Now this is not going to be death by PowerPoint. It'll just be a little bit of notes, etc. So here we have Paul Celan. His dates again were 1920 to 1970. Oh, this is not going down. Oh yeah. And this is a photograph of himself. It's the only photograph I have, and unfortunately I have to use it again and again without having a change. And then these are just some notes on his life. He was born, as we said, Anshel, then he became Ansel and eventually Celan. He was Jewish. He had a lot of different languages. He spent some time in a Nazi concentration camp where his parents died in a different one. And then he spent most of his time in France. He was married to a French woman and they had one son. He wrote in German. He wrote his poetry in German. He suffered from a mental illness, and this really was a big factor in his life. He knew other poets such as Ingeborg Bachmann, Lily Sachs, Rosa Ausländer. He seen Friedrich Hölderlin, and this is very important. Friedrich Hölderlin is a very, very important poet in German. Probably I suppose the most famous maybe, but he also writes about him in one particular poem, which I hope we'll have time to look at tonight. So Celan an Fila Germanische Behachte, maybe he was the most important German poet of the 20th century. He committed suicide in 1970 by jumping into the river Seine in Paris. So this is the book. This is book one of the poems in Dante le Paul Celan that I translated. And it's going to move from me. Yeah, and this is number two. Again, it's the same picture as you see. And here we go. Yeah. And this was just Todesfuge that you heard, the first verse there. Again, very powerful rhythm in Todesfuge. And I tried to replicate that in the Irish poem. I'm not sure how well I succeeded, really. Now we go on to Erinnerung an Frankreich. So that's the German version. And I'll just read you the English version first and then the Irish. So you have the German one there. You can be looking at that. Memory of France. Together with me recall the sky of Paris, that giant autumn crocus. We went shopping for hearts at the flower girl's booth. They were blue and they opened up in the water. It began to rain in our room. and our neighbour came in, Monsieur Le Songe, a lean little man. We played cards. I lost the irises of my eyes. You lent me your hair. I lost it. He struck us down. He left by the door. The rain followed him out. We were dead and were able to breathe. Now, as you see, this is a very experimental poem and a very beautiful poem, I think. Again, Monsieur Le Songe. Le Songe is another word for dream in French. So is the whole thing a dream or is it something completely different? It's up to you to decide. So in Irish, Cuoine Ceen an Bhrainc. Tusa, Cuoine Liom, an spéir I Boris, crochan over mór. Cheanníomar bachlóga ó chailí ní díalta na máhanna, viadar gorm agus bláhiadar san isce. Chosnig sé ag corbáistí in our seomra, agus tháinig ar górsan, Monsieur Le Songe, fearbeag suarach, dimriomar cártaí, chailména mic imrisk. Thugtú dom de chud cruaige íosacht, chailmé í, frasca sé sin, chuil sé amachchan doras, lean an bháisteach é, bhíomar marv, agus bhíomar in ann ar na náil a haint. I just have to thank there Dr. Gert Hoffman and Padraig Callaghan, who gave me a lot of help with the translations. Now, the last poem that I want to look at today is the one we mentioned there, just a few ideas there about that particular poem, is To Begin Jenner. And this is the poem in which he pays homage to Hölderlin. There's the German. Again, it's a very hard poem to read properly because it's so kind of chopped up and disjointed. But I go now to the Irish version. Or sorry, I go to the English version first. To Begin January by Paul Celan. Eyes talked into blindness, there a riddle, what is purely arisen, their memory of floating Hölderlin towers, gull and swirled. Visits of drowned joiners to these plunging words. Came, if there came a man to the world today with the patriarch's light beard. He could, if he spoke of this time, he could only babble and babble, ever, evermore. Palaksh, palaksh. Now, just to tell you a little bit about Hölderlin. Hölderlin, as we said, was a wonderful poet, but he also suffered from a mental illness. I suppose it's hard to retrospectively diagnose what somebody was suffering from way back then. And again, his dates are here. It's 1770 to 1843 were Hölderlin's dates. Again, they think now that he had schizophrenia, and he spent most of his life in a tower. He wasn't a prisoner, but he was being taken care of by a couple, a carpenter and his wife. So I'll now read the Irish version. Suile dalta ag cumas áitihe, a rún gan small, a glíne húr Hölderlin atá snáb freilán, a Fhoghlú ag seordán. Cuairteanna siúnéirí báite ar na focail seo a chuaig atá puil, dá duchach duine ar an saoil inniuh, le féasó gheal na bartriarcach, ní dhéadach sé dá láróch sé ar an am seo, ní dhéadach sé ach lapireacht agus lapireacht i gcónlaí mlí palaksh. Palaksh. Now, the focail palaksh, it means, it was a word that Hölderlin invented himself, and it could mean yes, or it could mean no. So again, very experimental poem there by Celan. And that rounds up really what I wanted to say tonight. I hope it's a little taster for you of Paul Celan's work, and that you'll pursue him and read some. There's a lot of stuff translated online belonging to Paul Celan. So gur mí maithagad agus slán tanna.
Mahu Isobel agus míle buchas as na dáanta go léir sin a rointling.
Gur maithagad.
Which is in fearsamúl agus rolling your thought. Gur mí maithagad. Thanks very much. That was beautiful and I think very informative and very brave way to present it. You're braver than I am, and sharing screens and all that. Carry on, fair play to you. Fair play to you. So, time to chun our next guest poet. I'm going to introduce Áine. Áine's published works include 4 collections of poetry, Asher Einar, Anlú sa Chuan, Ar an Imil, Banál, Dar Var, and she has written a number of adult novellas. She's won commissions and bursaries from the Arts Council, Ali na Gaeltachta and Ferris na Gaeilge. Prizes for her writing include the Michael Hartnett Poetry Award, Oireachtas na Gaeilge Literary Awards, Strokestown Dúis na Gaeilge Award, Listowel Writers Week. Prescribed texts for the junior cycle include her work. Áine was named Poet Laureate for Dungarvan during the Poetry Town 2021 initiative. Agus tá Lauer le Gaeilge a Nacht. So Áine has copies of her latest book here, which looks absolutely beautiful. So I think the biography says it all. Fáilte rót Áine agus gnaríile.
Gur míle maith go Julie agus gur míle maith go Paul agus sibse fad ó bhéal as cur a hartam an Sánacht. Thanks so much for inviting me here tonight. I'm informed that it's my third guest appearance. I thought it was my second, but there you go, as the years roll on. I'm going to read for you tonight from my latest collection, which is called Manad ar Bhair, and that means, roughly translated, women who lived. The idea for this collection was actually growing in my mind over a number of years. Some of the women to whom I've dedicated poems I was lucky enough to have met in my own lifetime. Others I didn't even know existed until I went and researched them, and others I came across by accident. But the general thread that runs through all of these poems, the only thing that connects all of these women, is that they were remarkable in their bravery and their willingness to stand alone in order to pursue either their beliefs or in order to do something unusual in their lives. So gur míle maith agaibh as aisteach le Nacht. I will read you the poems as I've written them in Irish. Some of them I'll translate, some of them I'll just tell you what they're about, because to be honest, when I translate a poem from Irish to English, I never quite achieve a poem in English. So I'd be just giving you an idea. And if any of the translations happen to sound like poems, well, that's great. Okay, gur maith agaibh. So on Chiad Dawn, Solasan Vishnig, this first poem is dedicated to female rights and health activist Vicky Phelan, and I don't think I need to explain any more about who Vicky Phelan is. But the poem itself refers to Irish bureaucracy. First thing in the morning, it gets up and gets ready for work. It lights the blowtorch so that all of the doors are sealed and all of the spiders are told to start weaving their webs so that all the secrets and the mistakes are cosseted in dark corners and so on. And when Vicky Phelan was going for her treatment there last year to the States, this was something that I wrote for her just to say that the sisters for whom she advocates were building a wall of love around her. Solasan Vishnig. Nor de hitten armring lodi wooing le bracha maidina is godrán in a dram hoon, dú sin dawn is cahan ima far. Irene moir lahas na héirin is tasnín á réiteach chéan dobran lei, lasa an téad thorste, táhú dorse, crumman na doáin alla níomhing réasáin a lúpig féframólach cio, chun na ruin is na botúin galéire chlorú I gwyníd oracha. A hynimid ar mailis ar mael nor ecimidiad ar lasa trí holas de Vishnig gyr a fór na párte. Fiach hamid a fáske de laive, baróg a dócha seam reheging ort, falling chianna a festú am a tontros, ar néalga nasca le chéile in a scialvolag cosanta heimpel ort. Okay, second poem is called Áine Nacht. And some of you might be familiar with that photograph made famous by photographer Dave Killen on social media. The 20th of July 2020, during the attempted suppression by riot police of a peaceful protest in Portland, Oregon, in response to the death of George Floyd, an anonymous woman removed all of her clothing and wearing only a beanie hat and a mask, she faced the riot police who were firing pepper spray and live rounds into the crowd. And with her vulnerability and her nakedness, she challenged them. So I've kind of envisaged because she was dubbed Naked Athena, I've envisaged this to be the battle between Poseidon and Athena. Athene Nacht. Portland, Oregon. Cahar Yeranach, Yaranalach. Ilar na sráide fiochta, mohín si dúlán in a potóga, géire gáis in a scavóga. Féchioch cloch is rocher, fáil sín si mar haifse I míl styrime. Aim sín tuil solas a crot for nacht, seachas púcín ai is hatabini. Splanken raukáin chlogid, traban piléir piober. Sitte inis, tugan si aig an gahalán fé éide ológach, Ardíon a géalga spréite a sa rontacht nach de corartha. Stánan siad I mar of háin. Ampíon aram Poseidon a móthir. Cúlíon, dúltíon dá geall córic. Okay, so an chiad dáile ha gomanis sé tanamaha ná gan Riain. This is about one of your own, a County Cork lady called Joanne O'Riordan. And Joanne's, this poem is a tribute to Joanne's existence. Again, I don't think I need to explain who Joanne is, but just in case there are any of you who haven't heard of her, she's a young lady who was born with a very strange and very unusual condition called total amelia. She was born without limbs, and her brother made a film about her called No Limbs, No Limits. So having seen that film, this is the result of it. And so incidentally, in the poem, I use phrases from the Irish language that refer to the limbs as let me see, confirming matters. So Verum Malaivdot is the first line. That means I guarantee you, but literally it means I give you my hand, that such and such. So I use words related to limbs, okay? Verum Malaivdot gur belgaha doyente shachas a will kelte a gotart hain. Leskiahain machri etelimas machleti oilach fechagrene. Fiach rood ne gatti dunta egele. Cuireann mo hos sa dacadáid nach bainglam lyric Roma an tail. Clushim árán éanar an linn sa tailach a híon sa ceol in a loch sola sé líanaan lei. Villain a vocala. Seo leat a chara, grad de hos is bóil de voslam tamil go vecitú is gom lasitú an tír se faram. An sail seo a hím, gan Riain, gan srahar. Margaret? Okay, my next poem is very short indeed, like the lady to whom it is dedicated. Her name was Rosie Hackett. She was a Republican, a trade unionist, a print worker who worked in Liberty Hall before and during the 1916 Rising, who handed James Connolly a copy of the Proclamation of 1916 while it was still wet. Rosie Hackett was about 4'10" or 11" in height, a tiny woman with a mighty heart. In 2014, one of the bridges across the Liffey was named in her honour, the first in our time to be named after a woman. So here it goes. Drihid, the Rosie Hackett. Kelor for fast the a green caharach or gannerkach dil. Fós a gamper ólig a draum a fadreisha hemachta. Fós á shinahin sa fiorna voil. So I'll just give you a very brief translation of that. Bridge, she will be celebrated forever in the heart of the city, our darling rebel, still carrying loads on her back long after her passing, still throwing herself in the gap of danger. Okay, so a few of the poems pay tribute to the suffragettes, and really, you know, I suppose, I presume you all know who those women were and what they achieved and how they existed at a time when 50% of the population of most of the world was disenfranchised. Most of the world that called itself democratic, incidentally. So inadvertently, some of the poems refer to men as well, and this particular one does. So William Sedgwick was born in 1855. He was a teacher, epidemiologist, bacteriologist, and a key figure in shaping public health in the US. He was a professor of biology at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Now, here's the interesting bit. He asserted very publicly that the mental exertion visited upon women, should they ever be allowed to vote, would cause their ovaries to wither. Now, 5 years later, his worst nightmare came to pass when women in the US were enfranchised. And surprise, surprise, their ovaries survived it. So, Léime and Donner Dúsing Eiling, I'll read it for you first in Irish, and then I'll read you my translation in English. Ní hauring ma vóta the William Sedgwick. Bui cymiodd an T.E. Reiteor is reiteor an ilani, aimsehor bi. Bi a trocht bwylinius eisg, si ragach an áth na lefingine iad. Hírach sé túrim, madr le fragrach an T, mar bi sin an cymiodd. Bui adrani gach Áine si a chynitál gach lúb lár an a valkis vín, a dóig le graman a neta gach strachad ad an a gatra. Bui a riarach, is a skjúrach a dís anamnacha agus jarabóch na córsandais ar a bhí a dhéanach idir vertíocht ar na conar hís a chána go léir sa cheantar. I gúrsaí tarthúlachta is bringe ba jacarí a hárú. Hagach maná is cailíní a fisrú go ganasach. Agus dhin sé seo go léir fé chumirce bas cnasta a fér. Is bhí an tálé, mar bhí drafóracha le fé chumirce ag basra ná raibh cho cnasta céanna. Ach, bhí cuaram amháin ná raibh in arúnta. Agus ní raibh éon ghóil thar sin. Níor comagaí ina deileh ná ina gné le na gaoise chur a bhaim i gcúrsaí balóide. Thún sé a ghurann séamh, agus leag go bog ar a mór é rompa ar agla éon áiris. Dúirt fear léanta, agus cred sé go seargach a síalan, go bheothach a thufagáin, go gcuireach le héad de dhéon bhachnamh neamhríochtanach is a bhainach leis na cuasaí sin I bhaanta sí Agus bhecha le héad de radaracht sráide is a bhí ar bun fé láthir. Neamh bhanlúil, neamh thorthúil. Bhear leis go bhanach sí I mon cuaramí neamh húlánacha an tí. Bhear chútha I. Now, agus an leagan Bíorla, I wouldn't vote for William Sedgwick. She was keeper of the house, arbitrator, home arranger, finder of food. Talk about loaves and fishes, she was a miracle worker. He would always ask her opinion about affairs of the house, as she was the homemaker. Conciliator of all discord, she knitted back smoothly every dropped loop, neatly stitched and repaired every tear that came between them. She oversaw and scrubbed clothes and soles, and the neighbours would tell you that she was chief negotiator, peacemaker of the whole area. In matters of the womb, she couldn't be beaten. Girls and women came secretly seeking, and she did all this under the direction of her husband's gentle hand. And she was lucky, because sisters of hers were ruled by hands that weren't so gentle. But there was one task which didn't suit her, and there was no getting away from it. She wasn't designed in body or mind to exercise her brain at the ballot. He closed his gentle fist and placed it tenderly on the table, just to dispel all doubt. A learned man had said, and he believed him, that her ovaries would wither at such entirely unnecessary thinking as would be required for such matters, cause her fits of fainting, and all that romping on the streets, the carry-on of the moment, was unwomanly and unfruitful. No, he'd prefer if she stuck with the unchallenging and easy household concerns she was used to. It was more her thing. Well, Creach no me better. I might just finish up with this last one because I have a full translation of it as well. And it's not very long, but it's very relevant to Cork again. Let me see where my page order is. Okay, ever that the hocht. So this poem is dedicated to the late soprano singer from Cork, Cara O'Sullivan. Now, I happened upon Cara's story when I was watching Nationwide on RTE1, and Anne Casson had a feature in which she interviewed Cara's sisters and friends, and I was very struck by the fact that she was such a talented singer. I mean, I knew of her singing before that, but I didn't know the story about her getting dementia at a young age and how she battled it. And, you know, how that horrible disease just destroyed her cell by cell in her brain until her fantastic gift was destroyed, and then she herself succumbed to it. So it's called Nota or Nota. This was actually broadcast on the Lyric FM poetry file sometime last year. So it's still online there if anybody wants to hear me reading it and explaining it. And the poem also kind of alludes to our general attitude towards people who have mental illness as well. So I've taken a little bit of poetic license with where I've placed the incident. But anyway, I'm allowed to do that, I'm a poet. So Nota ar Nota, the Cara O'Sullivan. Hug me isteach le mi chun caffi a ghol fe huinis, Shanachas berge jennev leis an maid de mo jere fuairtha fáca, mar hoshi a géal luhain, cheal ar cheal, Nota ar Nota. Ach, darúdan sin a rialacha, is a mach lé ar an uair lár. Tás ní an daoine ag útamáil le mícha an póird, a fiachant ar a chéile ormsa an son. Go dtí go líanaan glór soprán an áit ina híide tuile, fé mar a bheith siad dír le rá, fáilte ó chríróibh go léir an san ocht. I bhaite na súl, líanaan an seamra le smólíní, glóiseacha, lunta a clétarnach os ar gceann. A mail siú ar gafi le mille gotha, si violetta í a canna a scéal. Cléach líon dá lóga donna ina gartíní de velvet croiarag, tílana uair láir ina garpéid galanta, et líon copáin chart chláir amachchan in niúg, agus fágan ina níag, cluní fianna. Anis agus le traviata fé lán seoil, sian customary siar ar a gampórt, dintar áras ceoldrá míocht de forest de costa coffee srod fádrig. Stadan trach na gus las mo, bailíon corcaig ar an gosán, is aistíon le na ninín féin, Caradiva a fágant slán. Note by note. I brought her in with me for a quiet coffee, to chat a while with what's left of my sister, because she's slipping away from me, cell by cell, note by note. But she forgets the rules and takes the floor. People begin to fidget uncomfortably, exchange glances, then look towards me, until the flood tide of a soprano voice fills the place as if she were trying to say, "You're all most welcome here tonight." In the blink of an eye, the room fills with song thrushes, linnets, blackbirds flutter above our heads, sweetening our coffee with her honeyed voice. She is now Violetta singing her tale. Brown blinds transform into curtains of claret velvet. Floor tiles turn to opulent carpet. Cardboard cups fly away and leave behind glasses of wine. And now La Traviata is in full flight. Customers sit back and relax. Watch while the Costa Coffee on Pana becomes the Opera House of Paris. Hordes of busy feet on the street stop as the people of Cork gather and listen outside to their own daughter, Caradiva, saying goodbye. Gur míle maith agat.
Well, we should think of these and they're really marvelous on there. Absolutely beautiful. They're really marvelous. I think a lot of those poems will stay with us for the evening. They're marvelous. Tá lista goman so, an open mic. So we're going to take a quick break in a minute. I'm going to pass this around. Throw your name down here on the open mic list if you like. And that's about it really. I suppose we'll take 10 minutes. Den Omid, Brisha Den Omid. Just to give a bula bus for Isobel ni Riain and Áine. Yourself, you deserve it. Gurmila Mahgood. So hang around. I can't wait to hear what you have to say on the open mic. I'll start with Jason here, maybe with the list, and you can just work its way around. For Mahgood.
It's a beautiful place for photography as well. You're going to move there, you reckon? Because I see, you see online, I know you were from Hawaii or something, or you were probably from Hawaii. And that's all I can say is that
Oh yes, that's it. Mariana Williams said to me.
Cork. Yeah, I'm Cork all the time. Well, I'm from Cork, but I went away a bit, like, not very far, to be chemical engineer, pharmaceutical industry. Most beloved is the Portugal world. I think they looked down on anyone who worked in the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, well, as an engineer, I worked in Cork mostly, but I worked for Cork as well. Last year and a half now, I'm at home and I'm just taking phone and I didn't get a pension. My wife works full time, so and I have kids. But it's good. I'm busy with them still. So I'm sending it to have more time. I spend my time. I spend most of my time I'm just wondering which I know we have so many areas, yeah.
Can I ask you when you said about the
And there's two other ones then that have
like I just Canon, a simple Canon. I need to buy a zoom lens. I don't necessarily. But I kind of make any kind of thing. I like that. So I'm actually making animated stuff. I'm drawing drawings myself. I don't call myself an artist either, no. But I'm just doing a bit of animation. But I use the Canon for films. Of course, like I found the Canon. Do you do just stills? Do you do any film work? Yeah. Like I found I bought a Canon like not many years ago, but I thought when I got the Canon I had a video camera and the thing that I found it wasn't but like these film cameras are great. They're as good as they're brilliant for the stills. They're fantastic for the stills. Like I've made a number of portraits on stills. I don't know, yes, I don't know right or wrong. You can do from stills, you can bring them all together and you can do anything like that's what I think like. So you said it before.
Yeah, of course.
Patricia.
Yes. No, not yet. It's something I want to do. And I have no idea. Okay, so that's your any other options for credits? So there will be that rather than the bags. Okay, or do that. I would personally, I think I personally favor the one I showed you first, which is
Editing is a big as well. Well, I do a lot of editing. Who's that? Stan, is it? Yeah, he's an editor for what? Yeah, well, no, I work together. He has one for both. Yeah. Do you use editing sheets? No. Well, I do. You see, I do editing for films. You want to go to something.
Nice one, that was a nice I didn't check my emails today. I'm still like, only nothing from the
That's in 2007. 15 years going on. Brilliant. Keep them all, fantastic. One fire, one fire. With my stuff, like, I take a lot of film work and all this. They use a huge amount of space. Yeah, and then every so often you have to try and get rid of those. I put them on cloud and a hard drive and everything. I kind of like the technique. I wouldn't be kind of the detail work. From being an engineer, I suppose I like the editing and making the songs. So it kind of works well for me. I work together. Every day, really. Sometimes. It's all learning.
Sorry?
It's a learning experience.
Oh, you put your course right beside it, don't you know?
They're 10 euros. So to Egypt.
Yeah, the confidence to wear the shoe here. At the bottom of Patrick's circle. We would not get up to you. Tomorrow morning you can walk to the very top. Because the view from all your place is fantastic. Walk to the very top. There's a field on the left hand side. Yeah.
So we call him some decision come on. You're up there coming to Howard Airport, you know, so don't Peter come up to cook. There's people who go, yes, call us half an hour in at all.
Sorry. Lovely to see you.
Fantastic. Slán Áine.
Peter. Alexandra very late
Nice to meet you finally. I know.
Are you ready to go? Hi guys, sorry to interrupt the chat. Lanamid arrived at open mic. And just to remind you when you're coming up, just be mindful of the stool there, please. Try not to bang into anything like I keep doing. We're going to kick off the open mic with Alexandra, who's live from Greece. Because it's quite late there, so we're just going to start with Alexandra, and there she is. Fhoghlú wrote, welcome. So we'll let you start off there, Alexandra. Enjoy.
Thank you. Flying 10 from the Flying series. Just want to make sure, can everyone see the graphics going by?
That's perfect.
Okay, thank you. My flying is my prayer. My flying is my soul's psalm. Mellifluous prayer, mellifluous flying. Striving to synthesize beautiful symphonies. Sometimes in a discordant labyrinth. Sometimes in a blissful cadence. Sometimes in clashing thunder without solidarity or resonating melody. Sometimes in harmonic raindrops like divine notes, quenching our hearts' thirst. Connecting, rising into a new cycle of incarnation. My flying is my ode. My flying is my soul's lyrics. Pioneering ode, pioneering flying. Pollinating my thoughts with the nectar of imagination. sometimes in dignified humility, sometimes in illuminating speech, sometimes in the remaining few upholding their ideas, albeit unprotected and betrayed, sometimes in a united consciousness bursting into a grid of light, inspiring, rising into a thrilling creation. My flying is my dance. My flying is my soul swirling, orbiting dance, orbiting flying, coalescing, protecting from dark entities, sometimes in merciless defeat, sometimes in rays of jubilation, sometimes in the crashing sea waves battering and victimizing with mortal selfishness, sometimes in the lapping sea waves smoothing over the roughness, releasing our sweetness, initiating, rising into a rewarding metamorphosis. My flying is my apocalypse. My flying is my soul's ambrosia. Deifying apocalypse, deifying flying, freeing, joining my spirit with skies of art, sometimes in expressionless disillusion, sometimes in mystic truth, sometimes in a dark cave, the gravity of darkness weighing us down, sometimes in the golden dawn, a phoenix soaring, never touching ground, outshining, rising into rejuvenating catharsis. Our flying is our utopia. Our flying is our heaven on earth. Crystalline utopia, crystalline flying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexandra. Garmina Mahbut. So next up on the open mic is Catherine.
Special thanks to Patricia Looney in Cork State Libraries for her Poetry in the Park initiative, and happy enough to have this poem displayed and chosen. It's in Ballincollig Regional Park. Okay. Gugan Barra. Just after midnight, on the outskirts of city, the moon gave birth to an everlasting sun. Silver clouds parted, purple mist descended into the marsh lapped by the Lee. The night's labour unfolded St. Finbar, kissing the hands of time, small house to cathedral, wildflower to altar, outskirts to myth, source to sea, Cork was born.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, Patricia Looney is amazing. She's done fabulous things for Cork Poetry, in fairness. She's amazing. Okay, so next up is Constantine.
I'm reading here to read 4 poems. Yeah, is good. Is good enough?
We're trying maybe two.
Okay.
Say 2, Constantine. 2 poems, okay? Because we don't have time.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure. Words. Between you and me, there are words. Ideas float in the air, like the sound of the sea, resistant, like basalt. In our beings, the worlds are spaces, times, like the colors of the rainbow. Seasons, The strong wind shakes the leaves. The seasons are changing for me. I tie to a corner of my soul on an olive branch.
Has to be the chorus. Don't read more. Real short. Yeah. Sorry if they were long.
No,
But yeah.
my poetry is very short. It's not fair. Happiness. I haven't seen you in a long time. Your hair scatters a million stars. A spring song, a song of love. I recognize you among the lights and shadows. I'm waiting for you there. Butterflies flying, the hidden meanings of flowers, music on the air, in the sky, the train of love. The light drives away the darkness. On the river of life and memories, butterflies I fly.
Thank you, Constantine. Next up is Mr. JJF.
Okay, I didn't know what poem I was going to do tonight, but that Paul Kalan about, my apologies, but I have a German ex-wife. My stuff's about death, and I like blue and white. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So like, I have to do my poem about that, you know. So I don't know about fortune or glory, but what's most important for me, memento mori. For my life can be a suspenseful story, or the rather rife with events which bore me. And I know, I gotta let go of those death sticks, but this flow is still so deft and electric, and I guess I hope to live my life the best I can, while taking copious notes of the best bits, as I push cancerous thoughts from my mind further down the line, because I'm covered in soot and grime, hoping the tumor they find in 25 years' time is benign. People always ask, "Man, why are you so damn strident?" You don't understand the devastation of the evisceration. It's because I laid in a stagnant pit of stagnation for 6 years and almost died inside it. And the jury is still out if that escape route was divinely or self-guided. Now that bright white light is sparking, arcing, invading the cracks, the crevices, the current residence of the humming dark things. Don't you hear the melody they're strumming upon each and every one of my heartstrings? Remember, I'm never just a dusty, dumb, done thing, but rather forever in the process of becoming someone, something. And I stay steadily sketching out a meticulous list of what to do while I'm alive. I keep it fluid inside until the oh so solid conclusions arrive. I'll do my best to not let death ruin the vibe. I'll do my best to not let death ruin the night. And I keep my eyesight tied tight to the blue and the white. Death died, but I've resurrected him just right. So we've continued to tussle and fight with renewed muscle and might. And he will win at the end of the day. But on this day, I get to say, I'm living my life fully and completely. For I fear we're here but once, and ever so briefly. Now I get to begin again. Now I get to begin to again. And now I get to begin to ascend again. I get to begin to transcend again. I get to begin to live again. And I get to begin to live again. Oh, no.
Woo! Vermina Mahagut Jason. We're going to jump back to Zoom. To Sfongo, are you there? Sfongo. There you are, good man. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready. Hello, everyone. My name is Pongo. I'm a spoken word artist from Zimbabwe. I'm going to try to share screen here. Since I found these online platforms, I've been trying to find ways I can get people to connect with my poetry. I know I'm cute and all, but I think sometimes people don't need to see me. Not this. Maybe they might want to see the poetry. Let's share that. All right. So this poem is titled The Rain Dance. If the slide is not perfect, I just did this like 20 minutes ago, so yeah. We all sat around the fireplaces, the tongues of the fire seemingly taunting our hungry looking faces. We had not left the room, no, none had the nerve, not until the ritual was over. We sat on the floor, cross-legged, frozen, waiting for the first droplet. The ground smelt of thirsty, spring had come and gone, but even the trees that hung onto their leaves were grieved to hear them fall to the ground, raising tons of dust that hang above our heads like a friendly ghost come to boast. The rhythm of life got synced to the cries of the bleeding goats. We had drank their blood and ate the flesh of their kin in an effort to keep soul glued to skin. The people were quiet, but each whispered in their minds the truth unspeakable. The crusty pool that stood atop the cathedral, seemingly violating the sky, rendered her barren. Gone are the days of the rain dance when the rainmaker through the orifice of the hot springs in Binga disappeared for 7 days and came back with basket loads of harvest maize to tell of a bumper harvest, a gift from the gods of the land. If he came with his hands empty like politicians' promise of food security, the tribe knew the drums had to beat for the people to clap and the gods to dance until the earth cried tears of rain. We were one with the land, more so gods of the rain. So I pray thee, tell which gods do thee serve that let ye starve? No blasphemy. Let's have none of that nonsense for the starving child whose father works the fields, but the rains unfold, whose mother gathers the wood, but the cat sleeps on the head, whose stomach grumbles the Lord's prayer, but all the Lords are deaf here. Shoulders will never carry the unpleasant weight of a scarf teen as she goes to school. She bends, but not a single droplet for her throat to cool. So she learns that the globe is getting warm, that Mother Earth never speaks, but she whispers silent cries every time a car turns into a passive smoker, taking it to cloud9. But do you know what smoke does to lungs? It creates a hole so big the sun will escape the hands of time and burn us all alive. No rain to cool us down, let alone irrigate the Garden of Eden, long lost to the hands of men. The serpent hisses his joy from now until ever. Men shall starve and men shall die a slow and quiet death with every last breath Mother Earth takes. Thank you very much. I definitely need to fix the timing of that.
Wow, Mila Mahagut, thanks very much. That was fantastic. Mila Mahagut Hongo. We're going to move on, and you're back in the room. Colm Scully.
Thanks. That was brilliant to hear something there from Zimbabwe, you know, connecting us all to hear something live like that. Fantastic. And this is a poem I may have read here before, but I forget, so I'll give it another shot. It's about my dad who died about 25 years ago. It's a short one called The Electrician. There's a sweet spot on his pliers. With a tight squeeze, I cut the garden wire, then wind it around the bamboo cane. No matter what, I always find it. Where the ridges meet, below the eye. If a stranger tried it, they'd throw it to one side. But Dad always caught the cable and spun the pliers gently, working it as a blade. With a sharp pull, he'd reveal the copper, pointed, ready for connection, blue, green, and brown. I retrieved it from his toolbox and used it on occasion, and I'm no tradesman. Still, if there's a cable to be cut or sunflowers to be staked, I'll
I'll grab its taped up handle and together we'll find that sweet spot.
Hauling our fat column. Do you have a poetry film of that? No, God, because I've heard it before, but I pictured it as a, I think that's one you might have to do. Hauling our fat, Carmela Mahabut. Next up, Jim Cricker.
And this is called Detached Retina of the Third Eye. My third eye floats above my head, a huge and translucent orb, has witnessed all of my existence, recorded all of the lonely moments, replays them without consideration while I'm trying to sleep. It ignores me when I bounce it off the wall like a beach ball. I fall asleep under the glow of my childhood, failed relationships. Parting words lull me to sleep like the cot mobile of a baby goth. The iris of my third eye is always changing colors, like a mood ring, flashing amber when depression sets in. The hazard lights will not power off until I investigate. I've tried waving traffic past, but it only draws attention, rubbernecking. I take the bus to therapy, my third eye on the seat behind me, blinking like an SOS balloon. After I shower and self-soothe, slather my skin with fragrant creams, my third eye turns a purple glow and nods in agreement. Love messes with my depth perception. My third eye strains to see, like a walrus making its way towards water, then falling off a cliff. My therapist said I should have gone to Specsavers. After laying on the shore, ordering dominoes, working remote, I'll waddle back into the gym and pound my feet on the treadmill. When cornered by dull conversations, it inflates and takes me away, like Mary Poppins, floating through my kaleidoscope mind, the orange, yellow, green light bathing the face of the boar, whose conversation is long, laborious, and loquacious. He speaks in lists of countries, of elements, of actors. My third eye steals Arnold Schwarzenegger from the list. I'll leave, cradled by his Adonis physique, and I will not be back. Thank you.
Carmela Mahabut, Jim. Hauling our fat. We're going to move on with Patricia Walsh.
This is called the wise curse. We are there, waiting to be glossed over, trapped by the formulaic for years to come. Historically deprived of joy, rooting to detritus, cleaning under orders, loving sanitized heads, exiled out of school, running home again. Some disallowed goal frightens the common ground. Running through coffee, response already given. The sleeping joke capitalizes on a miserable sin. Too upright to be spoiled, genuinely caring. Married off to the threatened, shot dead. Together as role models, grinding angles away. The stock cliches running into glorified stasis. The cassette tape in his bulk sings merrily down the stream. Mature recollection watching on a park grace. Strong and weak, going through the unloved type. Jokes under distance, culminating their usefulness. The useful puns, gone away from more recognition, growing into submission, the day flying away. Commissioned into another blame, asking for it.
not alone the funniest. Of course he's fine. The destructive urge crashes on a wave of crime. Inward as it seems, taking a year off, recovering at a premium, not seeing the light, walking on 3 legs at night, the wildest curse.
Thank you, Patricia. We might jump online there now again to hear Pam, and she's in her car.
Thank y'all. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right. This is called May It Go Easy. May it go easy for you, Aunt Jackie. 9.5 decades in this membrane of living and dying. And may it go easy for me, cocooned as I am with you in this beginning, ending time. You aren't my cookie bacon aunt like Aunt Alta. You are my lioness aunt, pushing your 99-pound frame in front of mine when the late night knocking comes. Knuckles rapping hard against triple bolted door. Too late for anyone to come calling that knows you. I catch the soft, loose skin folds of your upper arm and say, you stay here, I'll go. Your arm bone resists like mighty oak, does not yield. I tuck behind you, dutiful niece, cloaked in your stubborn protection once more. We silent walk with fear-born fierceness to shuttered door. Is it your heartbeat I hear or mine pounding loud enough for both? Don't open the door, I say. I won't, you say. Lift the blind a little and look. I do. No one is there in dim carport light. Is it death come calling for one or both of us? I watch through what remains of night between back door and your bedroom door. Maymaw's wedding ring quilt lies still over your fetal curled 5-foot frame. I lean close and hear you shallow breathe. I whisper sing, oh, sisters, let's go down to the river to pray. Incantation like salt laid at door threshold. Take not my aunt, warrior woman in man world, Southern Belle supervisor, woman who stayed the course, not now. Take not me, warrior woman in breast cancer survival, woman who stays the course beyond statistical years, not now. My birthday gift to you has unfolded from bud to full bloom, red rose petals falling, a pool of bloodletting memories. I remember the story of the night Uncle Chris's murderers came knocking, drunk with whiskey and police protection, taunting Grandma and 16-year-old Sarah, not yet mother to you or Maymaw to me. I remember the night when Daddy Paul didn't come home and the knocking came. Maymaw sat all night between my bed and kitchen door in a quiet that scared me more than the knocking. Dawn comes and brushes light into shadow. I barefoot step on carport concrete into an August morning masquerading as fall. Sun has yet to lift fog blanket from mountain. I hear the best kind of knocking, pileated woodpecker, slow drumming the world steady again. And then a lighter tapping, not bird this time. It is you, came walking into another day. May it go easy. Thank you.
Beautiful as always, Pam. Gurmila Mahagut. Thank you very much. Brilliant. I think that went down really well. We're going to move on back in the room with Cedric. Are you well? Are you ready?
I realized that I've written this one actually quite a while back, 2017, I think. It's called Misfortune. With barely enough cloth over her heart, sparkles, sparkles, spins, spins, like a wild dice, misfortune. To the beats of the club on the floor, seems an easy win, spins, spins. Like a wild dice, dances to the tune. Shines like a million diamonds, sparkling, both a jewel and the queen. An appeal to which no joker is immune. She can deal with a bad hand. This lady against four kings wins. Never folds against all ends, leading three jacks to their ruin. Sometimes on the way home, a rather foul deal of a king follows, slithering. Grabs the scantily clad lady very soon. Swiftly she draws a blade, an ace, promising a hole for a spade. Gives an explicit silent message to the good. With a poker face, she threatens. He won't try his luck again, for he now knows what is misfortune.
Very míle mágat, Cedric. I think we'd all like a minute to kind of process, digest that. But I will have to move on to our next poet, which is Sue Blue.
Thanks very much. And because it is Irish night, I'm going to pick up the thread from earlier and I'm going to do a translation of my own poem from the German. And I'm going to start with the German version. This is a very old poem, written in 1996. I have changed a lot since, but here we go. Die Tigerin. Alte Lieder aufgebrochen, singen in mein altes Herz. Alte Tränen, Wunden wieder, eitern jetzt im neuen Schmerz. Alte Waffen klirren wieder, sind erneut zur Tat bereit. Die Erkenntnis sinkt da nieder, trifft den Wurm im neuen Kleid. Neues Wissen lässt mich leiden, was dem Alten Leid gebracht. Helle Augen weinen Tränen, wo aus Schulden Wut gemacht. Alte Waffen haben Mauern vor mein neues Lied gebaut, denn ich konnte nur verletzen, dem am tiefsten mich vertraut. Wirst mein altes Lied erhören, bis du ganz daran zerbrichst. Sie, die Tigerin, zerstörend, liebt behutsam, ganz für sich. Wandle nicht auf meinen Wegen, denn ich stoße tief ins Herz und zerstöre, was ich liebe. Und am Ende bleibt nur Schmerz. The Tigress. Bygone songs erupted, burst in my ancient heart lament. Bygone tears, rewounded sores, fester now with new torment. Again the ancient weapons sound, set to recommit the crime, and the insight sinks to ground, strikes the worm in new attire. New awareness makes me feel what's brought suffering to the old. Brighter eyes are shedding tears, where from guilt now anger grows. Ancient weapons have built walls to keep my new song hid and hushed, for bringing only harm to those I devote my deepest trust. Will you hear my bygone song, even though it drags you down? See, the tigress, lethal, strong, loves with caution, all alone. Do not walk with me on my path. I claw into your heart too deep, and thus destroy the ones I love, and in the end remains just grief.
Lovely. Thank you, Sue. Thanks a million. Next up is Roisin Leggett Bowen.
Thanks, everyone. It's so great to hear your poems. This is called the Night Sweepers. The Night Sweepers. Before dawn walks the fog from another day, the islanders gather. On the motorway, they bow their heads and sweep up what remains. Among the debris of tire shavings and lonely hubcaps, the dead can be found. The white-tipped tail of a vixen, once a cushion for newborn whiskers, or a piece of a crow still tethering something that looks like a wing. The night sweepers have no need for words. A tip of a finger above their tweed caps is enough to lift the stretchers made of ash and muslin, while their brush bristles, strong as badger's hair, dip heavy from the loop of salty belts. Odd scatterings might be mistaken. A toddler's ankle sock may take the shape of a pygmy shrew, or a doll's scarf, a queen bee's fallen rain. For those still alive, they will apply honeycomb blinkers to their eyes and wrap them in bandages made of kelp. And as the morning bleeds at traffic lights, nurses question their lantern eyes as they sway home from graveyard shifts at the hospice, where the dying remember the taste of snow. And from their knotted throats, the night sweepers murmur a low drift hum as they lay the dead to rest in kirks swathed with elderflowers and with candles in their eyes. They remove their caps once more as the sea rises.
Míle maith Roisin, go hálaí ar fad. Míle maith. We're going to move on to our next poet, and that's Antonio, and he's ready to go.
Hi, thank you for the wonderful poems so far. It's really great this evening, and a lot of emotions and feelings. So it's I hope to be at the right standard now. So this poem is called the Late Afternoon. Clouds become clay, a reflection of feelings, an unconscious shape. The air challenges the molecular tenderness of the water. A summer breeze, moment of an almost elsewhere, tasting the receipts of traditional dishes, reconnecting in a glance past and the future. In a late afternoon, when the sun goes down, the astonishing, nostalgic feeling embraces the heart, an unexpected melancholy, painted of a light blue. Clouds have escaped for many times to retain the last chance to say goodbye. Gathering of thoughts, notes of flowers for the last glass of wine, recording an intimate blast. Thank you.
Beautiful, Antonio. Thanks very much. Gurmila Mahagat. Absolutely beautiful. Next up is tonight's 5-word champion. Up you come, Fhoghlú. Fhoghlú O'Connell.
Thank you. This is something I wrote recently and it doesn't have a name yet. The machine is a host for the ghosts to move. Through the plains, vegetation is left to nourish. It's a part of the bigger game. We forget that we are the same, embodied by another's cloak. Empathy for the machine is a joke. Through the machine, energy soaks. Moving mountains, getting strokes. Too much rest leaves you broke. Exploited profits, muddy air. Breathing chokes, again is a joke. Planting seeds to feed the machine. The garden is never full. The machine is never full. The machine does not know what full is. It's up to the ghosts.
Thank you, Fhoghlú Mahu, Gurmila Mahagat. And next up is Raphael. Welcome back up. That's a good name, Raphael Olympio. That's a good, strong name you've got there.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So this piece is called Inquisition. My phone died, so I'm only going to give you one verse of it, if that's okay. Relented in my determined inquisition. Who am I? A pretentious, attention-seeking and insecure human who confines in the world only leads to daily admission? Or you want to start conversing, put me in a box, confessing, man, that's nonsense. I need change, so give me back my 5 cents. Hold up, got a notification. The trades of the media has become a part of my acquisitions. Stupidities and all but like common viral infections. Infect them of simpletons, baptize them of foreign sense, and there goes your innocence. Caesar season you citizens with this full-blown experience, leaving you with this Frankenstein frankincense. Does that make sense? Or am I lost in my aura? Membrane split diaspora, bipolar, bare by the polar. I'm in need of still waters, please bring me to the green pastures before I lose myself a mind. Born free, so tell me why in the world am I so confined? Thank you.
So you have to come back and read the rest of those verses for us, please. Okay. Next up is Kieran.
Excellent, Julie. Cheers, girl. Yeah, this is to the government and in honor of the once homeless. You know who you are. You know who you are when you are being addressed. You recognize the eye contact that indicates the presumption of response. You know who you are, don't hide. You know that if the house doesn't have a roof, it can't house people. You know well that if you don't send in a skilled practitioner, the roof won't be put on the house. If the roof has a house, you say the house doesn't have a window. You leave the window fitters at the door with their mouths open. You tell the open-mouthed window fitters that there is no work to do. You tell those behind a scantily populated, change-ridden takeaway coffee cup doorkeeping an empty building, that in fact there are no buildings. You make magic, the type of magic we were taught to fear. Committing yourself so fully to a lie, you don't even know that you're lying as you tell it. The reality of your words become the words of your reality. Seamless, stroke-free, feeding content to analysis. Tell everyone you're running while standing still. Demand so many decisions about what's not going on that they may never consider what is. You encourage violence in your sitting and your smiling. Your agenda is as naked as your body was when it came out. You breed poverty, euthanize the poor, and aren't worth the vomit you compel me to.
We're nearly at the end. The donation jar, I don't think it actually made its way around the room, so would you mind just passing that around there, please? And any donations are greatly appreciated. Gurmila Mahagov. Just to remind you, on the 23rd of September, again, we've Culture Night here, 2 incredible poets, one Stan Knott, our own regular, and also a poet from the Ukraine is going to be live on Zoom. And then our next Ovail in October is going to be the Munster Slam. So please come along to that. That's going to be a whopper of a night. Amy, do you want to read it home? Okay. Brilliant. So we might have one more on the open mic. There's just a quick announcement as well. On the 30th of September, Mr. JJF here has organised an event, Red Threads. It's going to take place in the Key Co-op, a lovely venue, hopefully the first of many. Himself and myself are going to share some words that evening. They'll have an Eventbrite page. It's great value. You get a meal and a free drink and some words, so it sounds good. So look out for that. It's going to be like plastered all over the gap in the next few days. You ready? Amy. So Amy's our last person on the open mic tonight, so enjoy. Thanks, Amy.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here again. Since 2017, I think, was the last time I was here. Okay, I'm going to read a poem called Izmir, an Eastern Jam. Cat-like green on your lips, gentle fingers fevering mine, Mediterranean sunshine lock in my bones. In cordon pavement cafe, Turkish coffee murmurs on a hot bed of sand. We savor in tiny Finken cups, day's eyes imperative. Can you see yourself in mine? Your thoughts store in a new world, while I'm a resident dreamer. Presence is an awakening heart like a pale whisper. Through Zebek eagle-like dance and songs, the scent of Izmir roams like a cat. Thank you.
So again, thank you to all our fabulous participants in Zoom, and to yourselves, Gurmila Mahagov, Slán Awalia, and we'll see you on Culture Night, hopefully. Slán Lim.
Take an announcment, okay? I'm launching my latest book in the Cork City Library on Saturday at 3 p.m. So if you want to call me, you're most welcome.
Fair play. Thanks, Michelle.